Hello all you beautiful people, my name is Zach Dowdy. Welcome back to a new YouTube video. Today we're talking about rails. I've been skating rails on my board for the last few months and I haven't done that in years, so I figured why not make a video breaking down how to set them up, why to set them up, the pros and the cons, because there's good things and there's bad things about rails. I'm here at Ocean Beach Skate Park, Shaka's Park, Rob Field. So I'm going to show you guys how to put these on, and then we're going to break them in, talk about some of the benefits to rails and some of the disadvantages for the rails, because recently these actually got snapped off my board at a spot, which is definitely a disadvantage to having rails, is sometimes you have to skate spots differently. So I'm going to set up some rails. I like pig rails because they're not super thick. You don't want something really high and thick because it's more balancing. You're higher off your board. You want something thin that's just basically this plastic layer. So I highly suggest pig rails. The only tool that you really need to set up rails on your skateboard is a screwdriver. If you have a compact drill, it's going to help. I actually did drill on these originally and then I did a screw on, so you can definitely just use a screwdriver. That is what I'm going to use today. So you do want your board to hit just a little bit, ideally. At least that's my subjective opinion on it. You can put the rails right in the middle. It's going to be harder to balance your board slides. You can play around with the positioning of the rails, but as a standard rule of thumb, keeping them 1 inch from the side is a good place to keep them, because your board is going to concave and you'll hit a little bit of that middle of the board. Alright, so I got most of the screws on there. The thing with putting on rails when you're screwing them on, you kind of want to get every bolt in and then slowly sink the bolts after you get every bolt in, because the problem is if you try to go really hard on one bolt, it ends up flopping up the other side of it and just like counterbalances everything. So get all your bolts in there and then countersink them after you have them into a nice good location. All right, that's pretty much how you set up rails. It's really easy. The only other tip I would give you is to make sure that they're flush. There's no gap in between your rail and your board, because that can just cause them to fall off and it'll add a little rattling, you know, no big deal. I haven't had a haircut since the entire quarantine. Since COVID hit, I haven't had a haircut. I'm not like one of those get your haircut upkeep type of people. I like to let it go long and then cut it later. So yeah, we're gonna get warmed up and then we'll dive into a little more specific as why you should ride rails and why you shouldn't. Rails in general are a pretty old school thing to do in skateboarding. So this is noping behind me. There's no coping on that. If I didn't have rails, there's no way I could be doing lip slides or board slides. I can wax it up a lot. I still would have a hard time sliding. So that is definitely an advantage to rails, is you can slide different surfaces a lot better. So if you're in the streets, you could slide any curb, not having to wax it up or rub brick or hit it with a lacquer, which, you know, that is pretty subjective. It's still gonna be tough to slide, but the advantage to rails is it makes everything sliding a lot easier. I was trying to board slide the other day when I didn't have rails on and I was struggling. So you get really used to using the rails. It's definitely an advantage to having them. And street skating, park skating, anything. That's the thing, rails are more of a tranny skater thing, more pool skating thing in specific, but I've seen more street skaters do them. You can use rails out in the streets or in the parks. There is disadvantages to rails as well.
Yep.
Out here.
Yep.
Shrikin's out here working on YouTube edit. You better go subscribe to his channel, because I'm trying to get him to upload consistently. If you go subscribe, more likely he will, right?
Yes, right.
Subscribe,
Drop
like,
that.
comment, Shrikin's channel, go hit it.
Stay tuned.
your guys' thoughts, because I feel like whenever you're at the skate park and you set up the camera, and even if there's nobody in the zone that you're skating, for some reason, all of a sudden there's a lot of people skating in that zone. And I'm not hating, I'm not talking shit. I just want to know, why is that? It's like nobody will be there, you set up, and then all of a sudden everyone's in that one zone. Do you guys have that problem? Let me know down below. How do you cope with that? How do you deal with that? Because I just keep moving, but then like, I don't know. I want to land tricks. I will say one of the before we get into the full breakdown of disadvantages, is that you can zing out really fast. So if you're not used to using rails and you're on metal coping at a skate park, you can zing out and fall into your back really quick. So that is something to think about. There's advantages and there is disadvantages. Oh! All right, rails. We talked about the advantages, the good things about them. There are some bad things about them. One thing is your board's gonna be a lot heavier. It's gonna be weighted down. It could be a lot louder and clunkier and noisier if you don't get everything screwed down. Also, if you're not used to skating rails, you can zing out really quick and it can be pretty dangerous. So once you're getting used to the rails, you definitely need to like kind of tinker around some things. So say if you went and skated a ledge, I was super waxed up, people have been skating, chances are you're gonna zing out right away. So there are disadvantages to having rails. And also something that I noticed with backsmith, you really do use the rail and it helps you in a sense, but it also kind of shot me off. I was trying some backsmith earlier on the Taco Bell and I was zinging out because I was grinding almost too much, and you almost have to like pinch the backsmith a little bit differently. So I think that is one negative thing about rails, is you have to execute tricks a little bit differently sometimes, but for the most part they're fun to do. And if you've been skating for long enough, it's always good just mix it up, try some rails. You might not even leave them on, or try somebody's board that has rails to test them out and see if you like them. That is it for this quick video on how to set up rails, how to skate them, all about rails. Like I said, I don't normally skate rails. This is kind of a new sensation that I've gotten recently, because I think if you skate and you've been skating for a long time, doing different things like putting on some rails or different board sizes is gonna make it fresh. So what I'm trying to say is mix it up. Maybe it's not rails, maybe it's like I don't know, truck copers. Somebody mentioned like do a how to DIY truck copers, where it's basically rails but for your truck. You can make truck rails. It's pretty crazy. And you can like grind on anything. If you want to see a how to make, copers for your trucks, I can make that video. My friend Truman, he helps with Skeleton Key and they make those. So it'd be kind of cool to make a video about that. Let me know down in the comment section. Subscribe if you're not already, and we'll see you guys in the next one. MASH.